I've been playing a lot since we spoke last, so hopefully my responses will be a little bit more in line with yours, but it's always good to get some sense of that. So, all right. What are we playing? We're playing competitive constructive. I really had a lot of fun with sideboarding the last time I did it. It actually felt like, what the fuck is... No. Competitive constructed, I'm lying. Competitive draft even. There we go. I guess I need to share screens with you, huh?
Yeah, or I can just watch the stream on mute.
A little bit slow that way. I'll try to give you some actual screen share. Might be slightly better there. Okay. Let's grab that. Grab that. Can you see my screen now?
Yep.
Okay. So guys, if you're not, let me just put this in the stream title. Drafting with LegenVD, who is you're a full-time MTG streamer, right?
Yeah, mostly YouTuber, but like partly streamer.
Gotcha. Yeah, so someone with a fuck ton more Magic experience than me. So I just moved. I have a new setup, new sound, new visuals, etc. Very pleased with it. Very excited to be that. This is my first stream at my new place. And I'm drinking a little bit. So hopefully that won't impact anything. But, you know, here we are. Let me just update that. And we'll get going with that.
I saw you had a nickel balls earlier.
Yeah, that deck did about what we expected with it. It was very fun, but we drafted entirely around it. It was our first pick, and it didn't really carry the deck as much as it would have been nice to have, but it was fun. We have the other. I haven't even seen this dragon before. This is my first time seeing this. The 7 mana 6/6 flyer plays a flash creature.
The chromium guy.
Yes, seems very strong. Very expensive, but very strong.
Very
good. But we drafted. This is 2 games in a row. 2 decks in a row rather that we drafted off our first pick, and our first pick has been multicolor, which I think is a terrible way to draft, but a lot of fun to make a deck.
Yeah, it's a nice experience.
All right, let's check it out. So you can see my screen, right? So you see this right off the bat. All right, so right off the bat, I see. I'm going to go through these in reverse power here in terms of the ones I'm interested in. Fountain of Renewal is a very decent card. I love it. The health is okay. It generally gets you 3 or 4 at least, and generally then a card afterwards. Rabid Bite's a very solid green card. Gargoyle Sentinel is totally decent. And Skyrider Patrol is absolutely apeshit insane. When I look at this, the downside of picking this first is it blue-green. We don't have to commit to that. We could, for example, play blue or green and splash the secondary color. That's potentially reasonable, although the Skyrider Patrol isn't amazing with the splash. It's okay with the splash, but not amazing. You really do want to have both those mana to play it. But when I look at this, I have a hard time seeing anything in the power level of Skyrider Patrol.
Yep, for me it's a pretty easy patrol.
Okay.
I mean, sure, it's double color, but the power level is high enough where I'm willing to take it here over, let's say, a Rabid Bite.
Okay, I'm definitely down with that. I think this card's nuts. All right, cards that stick out to me. The Bugler is really solid. Dwindle is okay removal. Salvager of Secrets is slow but solid recursion for instants and sorceries. Not that we have any of that yet. Thornhide Wolves is a totally decent 4/5 for 5, but not particularly exciting. And nothing else here is particularly exciting to me whatsoever. Maybe the Resembling Skeleton, but even that's not that exciting. If we're trying to go blue-green and force that, the Bugler loses some value for me, and Dwindle picks up just a little bit of value. I guess if I were looking at this, I would either say let's draft the strongest card, which would probably be Bugler here for me, or let's draft blue-green, which would probably be Dwindle for me. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think like Bugler might be like slightly better than Dwindle some of the time, but you have to draft around the Bugler too to make it really good. It's more of a constructed card really, but I mean it can still be fine limited. But yeah, the Dwindle's close enough in power level, and it's inner colors that I would take the Dwindle over Salvager, since Salvager
has no
doesn't really
synergy
fit
yet.
into blue-green yet. Yeah, it's more of a card that goes well with black or red, where you have a lot of removal. That's instants or sorcery.
Totally down with the Dwindle. It seems totally reasonable to me. Okay, let's take a look at the next round here. My first pass at this is blue and green are not particularly well represented in this pack. Salvager's okay, Scholar's okay, Thornhide Wolves are okay. Either Tunnel I think is fairly good, but I don't know. I feel like it's an enchantment that's pretty good. It's going to get solid solid damage out of that most of the time, but I'm not sure what deck wants solid damage, and I'm not sure I'm at a point where I can say our deck wants to race them, and Ether Tunnel is really good for that. So I look at this, and I don't see a clear card that comes out of it. There's a lot of powerful cards. Shieldmare is good. Dissenter's okay. I say a lot of powerful cards. There's a lot of okay. There's a lot of mediocre cards in this pack that I'd be happy to have in my deck, but nothing that calls to me. What do you pick here?
Yeah, this pack's pretty unexciting. Ether Tunnel does go well in blue-green because you have a lot of green fatties, and making those unblockable can be nice. But it, of course, carries the risk of any aura. Yeah, I mean, there's not much else really. Could just take a Wolves, but you can usually take those later. The Salvager, as I've said, doesn't really shine in blue-green.
Let's grab the
Could
tunnel.
just take the Salvager anyways, because you might not go green and then Salvager's fine, but I would maybe go for the tunnel here.
I think I haven't. I think I've only drafted this card maybe once because it always seems to be outshined by other cards. Let's try it and see what comes up. I'm not thrilled about that pick, but I'm with you on the logic on that. Okay. Again, we're getting a little screwed on blue-green here. Greenwood Sentinel, Root Snare, very unexciting. Totally Lost, fairly unexciting. The card that's most exciting here to me is Pegasus Courser.
Yep. And I might actually just hop into white here and go with the Courser, see if that pans out, and otherwise we didn't miss out on much.
I'm 100% behind that play. I don't see a lot there that really calls to me otherwise. What the fuck is this card? 10 mana enchantment. Yeah, that's not playable. So let's look at the rest of that. This is not a particularly playable pack. If we're looking blue-green, I see Titanic Growth as the only card that even matters. If we're trying to get in white here, Mighty Leap is decent but not amazing. Drill Master's fairly decent, and Falcon's okay. I have no idea. If I look at this, I would probably fuddle around for a few minutes and probably take the Growth or the Mighty Leap.
Those are all reasonable for sure. I would think about, like, in blue-green, Titanic Growth is definitely solid. But we already have, like, Ether Tunnel is kind of an effect to go on our creatures, so don't have to take the Titanic Growth super highly. The Drill Master is fine if we end up in just straight up blue-white, maybe splashing green.
What's your bet right now? Do we end up splashing green and play blue-white?
It's not decided yet. It's going to depend on how our following few picks are going to go. So I might just take the Drill Master as an okay creature, or the Titanic Growth between the two.
Yeah, these are really close for me though, and I don't have a strong way of deciding between them. I like the Courser, I guess, more than I like any of the green cards we've seen so far, and green's been really hard to pick. But I think green is okay in this draft. Like, there's a lot of solid green creatures that we could get. So I don't know how to evaluate this. Even a lot of common greens that we'd pick up, like, I have no idea how to evaluate between Titanic Growth and Drill Master. Any tips for me on a kind of more advanced, like more than the first pass, like level of what you'd look at that?
Yeah, like as I've said, we've already have the Ether Tunnel. So hold on 1 second, I gotta turn off something.
Sure. Interesting. So his argument is actually for the Drill Master over the Growth. I'm not sure that Ether Tunnel and Titanic Growth actually fulfill the same role. They seem to be a very different role for me. This is an enchantment aura, so this is something you play at sorcery speed and then put on a creature to slam into them. And yes, you'll get 2 for 1 if they remove that, but this doesn't actually seem like that. This seems like a combat trick that's mostly going to be played in the stage where if they have removal, sure, you might get triple burned, I guess, with instant speed removal, but a lot of the removal right now is sorcery speed. I'm not sure that I'm seeing that as the same role so much as Ether Tunnel. That's tough for me.
Yeah, so the thing is mostly that if you have a deck, you only have so many slots for non-creature spells. So that's some of the reasoning that goes behind it, since you can't really play like 6-7 of those effects.
Gotcha.
But I mean, just having a Titanic Growth, it might easily make our deck if we end up in blue-green, so it can be a fine pick here. But it's also a card that you can sometimes pick up later.
I like the power of Courser too. I'm okay with Drill Master.
Yeah,
and I think
Drill Master is definitely fine.
I think a later pick growth is better than a later pick Drill Master, because I don't think we're going to see a later pick Drill Master. Okay, let's take a look around. Wolves Oaken Form. Oaken Form has been doing a lot of damage to me recently. I've been seeing a lot of players playing Ores right now, and removal does punish the shit out of that, but a lot of times I can get that damage in before I get to my removal, which is a little bit scary. And certainly common enchants are faster than, or more likely to occur than common removals, right? Like there's a lot of quick enchants out there. The Bog Stomper, excuse me, the Bog Stomper, I don't know why I said that. And I have no interest in the Bog Stomper whatsoever. The cards that stick out to me here are the Omen Speaker, the Oaken Form, and the Vanguard. The Vanguard, just because it tends to be fairly solid, doesn't seem to have any synergy with our deck whatsoever. It seems to be more black-white oriented for me. I love the Omen Speaker. I think Scry 2 is an amazing effect for a 1/3 on 2 mana. But I could be talked into maybe the Wolves or Oaken Form, or even the Apparatus if you really want to work at it. But my pick here would be Omen Speaker.
Yeah, the Omen Speaker is definitely solid here. The only concern I have with Omen Speaker is that it doesn't particularly go well with our other picks. Like Omen Speaker is more of a defensive card that goes well in a more controlling deck, while the cards we have more point towards a more aggressive deck. So that's the only drawback of the Omen Speaker here. But it could still be okay.
Even with the defensive deck, though, a lot of times it helps to. A lot of times with aggressive decks, you're doing aggressive through something else, like through air or through unblockable or through menace or something, and it still helps to tie up their counterattacks on the ground.
Yeah, for sure. So it's an okay card. I would be fine taking it here.
What's your
There's
second pick?
Nothing else. If it weren't for Omen Speaker, we could hatch back into green, take the Thornhide Wolves. The Vanguard's okay, but in blue-white you're not gonna have a ton of those life gain synergies. So
that's first for you, and maybe secondary Wolves or maybe even Oaken Form. I know you don't like enchantments, so all right, I'm down on the Omen Speaker. I like that card a lot. Okay, not a lot for us here. There is something to be said about the Manolith as a mana fixer, but it's not particularly exciting. Same with Gift of Paradise. Not very exciting. Enigma Drake is good, but not particularly great with the cards we have. No instants of sorceries, and we have no red. I'm leaning towards. The funny card is I'm leaning a little bit towards Talons here. So I could see any of these three with either the mana fixers maybe a little bit higher priority, but I could see Talons being okay. The card is fairly decent. It's an aura that doesn't have all the downsides of an aura.
Yeah, Talons is certainly defensible. My reasoning for potentially taking Manolith here is that we're in blue-white for the most part, and there's quite a few artifact-based synergies in blue-white. So taking the Manolith has more value than if we were another color combination.
Although Gift of Paradise is essentially a Manolith plus the fact that you gain 3 life when you cast it, which often means that when you're developing your growth here, you're actually getting a little bit of respite from fucking getting the shit kicked out of you while you don't do something better.
Yeah, unless we're gonna be blue-white as our main colors, then we could still potentially splash the patrol off of the Manolith.
That's
which
fair.
Would be okay.
I can get behind that. I think I'm close between these, and neither of these are particularly appealing with no other green cards, so I can get behind the Manolith. All right, and
there we go. There's this color.
There's that nice synergy. Yeah, and this is the only pick here that makes any sense for our deck. So we're picking Scholar regardless, but it does have very nice synergy with the Manolith. I look at this. Pack Beast actually sticks out to me more than anything else. I like the card. If we pick up some Sky Scanners later or any of the artifact stuff that is cool, that's pretty damn good for us. It's a 2/3 body, which I prefer. I don't really like 3/1s very much. I don't think very much of a 1/2 for one that has artifact synergy to become a 2/2. So if you have other options, what would you shout about?
It's definitely close between the Swiftclaw and the Pack Beast for me, just because we have the Pegasus Courser already and we have an Ether Tunnel, which go well with the Swiftclaw. But the Pack Beast seems like the kind of safer pick in a way, since it can play better if we don't end up as a super aggressive deck.
Even without super aggressive, I think Courser and Ether Tunnel have some serious value. You can, especially Courser. Courser's a good blocker at a 1/3 for 3. You can still choose your time to be aggressive with that. You don't have to just draft 3/1s because you have the Courser.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Then I'm on a Pack Beast there. This deck's getting hard. This pick's getting harder for me rather. I don't really want a Totally Lost. It's okay but not great. I don't really want a Knight of Tusk. It's okay but not great. Nothing else makes any sense for colors. What would you pick here and why?
So yeah, as you've said, they're not really exciting. Totally Lost, no particular synergies quite yet. If we had one of those salvagers of secrets, then it would be a little bit higher up our list. The Knight of the Tusk is like an okay body.
I'm kind of leaning towards Totally Lost here.
Yeah, we don't have any removal yet, except for the Dwindle, I guess. So we're quite light on removal. The potentially nice thing about Knight of the Tusk in blue-white is that it holds the ground nicely while we can get in with our flyers.
Sure.
So that's one of the advantages of having a 3/7. While Totally Lost, it's only like a temporary answer and doesn't really shore up the ground if we're up against like a green deck full of 6/6s and 5/5s.
It does stall them a turn though.
Yeah, it's close. I might lean towards the Knight of the Tusk, but I could see taking Totally Lost too here.
Well, call that one. My pick personally would have been Totally Lost here, but this is the goal of the collaboration, is to get your input on this. If you had to pick one of the two, what would you pick?
I think I would go with the Knight.
Okay.
The reasoning to take Totally Lost also could be that we might end up giving up white and still end up in blue-green somehow, and then Totally Lost would make our deck while the Knight would not. But I think as our deck stands, I would rather have the Knight.
Okay. This one seems like a very easy pack beast to me. The Scholar is in blue, which is almost certainly being played. That's the advantage of the Scholar over the pack beast. I prefer a 2/3 to a 3/2 almost always. And the artifact synergy has something useful for us.
Yep.
Okay.
We'll have to take those sky scanners really highly now.
Yeah, I do anyways. Oh, wow. Okay, third pack piece. We're ready. This is just garbage. Oaken form, but probably not getting play. Plains, probably not getting play. Okay, the deckhand, unblockable damage. The stag, very, very solid attacker. And the rabid bite and giant spider, and actually dreadmod. There's 5 cards here. Of those 5, these 3 seem the most useful to me. And there's a pretty good argument right now that we're only splashing green for the patrols, which makes bite a lot less good to me. So we're looking at maybe Departed Deckhand, which I like. It's basically 2/2 unblockable that can pay 4 to make someone else unblockable, versus the stag, which is 4 for 3/3, tap target creature while you're attacking. I'd be happy with either of these. And if I look at our curve and setup, I would love a solid 2 that I care about. I guess I'm leaning towards the Departed Deckhand here, but I could be talking to the stag.
I would lean towards the deckhand as well. Like, they're very close in power level, stag and deckhand, but deckhand is a nice turn 2 play, which you don't have a ton of those. And usually when I'm in doubt between close picks, I just tend to go with the cheaper card.
Huh, that's interesting. I've never heard that advice. That's interesting advice to hear. Yep, I'm with you on that. I would take... Okay, let's take just a quick look across this. Too bad we don't have black. This card, I think, is one of the best picks you could have. I think this Murder and Sovereign are just incredible picks out of this pack. But in our colors, for white, black, green, Omen Speaker's tempting. The Herald of Faith just seems like a bomb to me. I'd probably pick that up. These 2 are both decent. But I would take Herald of Faith and hope that the Omen Speaker, Snapping Drake, or Divination wheel to us.
Yep, my thoughts exactly. Okay. Angel's great here.
Yep. All right, Sift is really solid. Knight of the Tusk, not so much. Ghost Form, not so much. Omen Speaker's good. Cancels whatever. We're not playing black, so it's very hard to play the Caress. The Rejuvenator, again, with almost no green in our deck, I don't think is worth playing. So this, to me, becomes down to the Omen Speaker versus the Sift. I could be talked into either. I like... If we're playing white-blue with a bunch of 2/3s on our deck, it seems like we're a little bit slower. We're probably looking to kill them in the air. The Omen Speaker stalls the board while letting us get good draws, and it's not a bad mid to late game draw, which I really like. However, Sift seems very strong to me. You're almost always going to draw 3 cards and throw a land out with that. However, it's 4 mana and a sorcery. I could be talked into either. Those are probably my top 2 picks. I guess I lean towards Sift, but not by much. Maybe like 60-40. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I would probably go with the Sift here, since there's a chance we wield that Omen Speaker in the previous pack or pick up another Omen Speaker since it's a common. And we don't really have any card advantage yet besides the Scholar of Stars.
Okay. I would pick Dwindle here as another removal.
Yeah, so now that we picked up Sift and we have our card advantage, I'm leaning towards the removal spell over the card draw spell now. So I would go with the Dwindle over Disperse as far as removal goes.
Do you mean over Divination?
No, like if I wanted
literally
to pick,
over Disperse.
Yeah.
Okay. Huh.
I mean,
I wouldn't have considered Disperse here.
I would probably still take Divination over Disperse if Dwindle wasn't here. But just saying, now that we're looking for more interaction for the opponent, then Disperse is also worth considering.
Okay. This is a fairly interesting pack. So I love Marauder's Axe, and I think it's even better with flyers than flyers in like 1/3s than it is in anything else. So that's fine to me. The Snapping Drake, of course, is a 3/2 flyer. That's probably one of our win conditions, is flying damage. And then the Aven Wind Mage for a 2/2. Do we have any instants or sorcerers right now? We have a couple enchants. We have one enchant, 2/3 enchant, just a sift. So I guess I'm leaning towards the Drake over the Aven Mage, but 4 mana over 3 is meaningful. I could be talked into any one of these 3. My pick is this, with a second pick that, and a third pick that. But I'd like to hear what you think.
Yeah, I think I would go with the same order there. Drake over Wind Mage over Axe.
Okay, one with the machine. We have no artifacts, or we have only Manolith. I think that's a little hard to... I'd take Essence Scatter here, and I'd snap pick it and have no problems whatsoever.
Yep.
Okay. And the Tusk, Disperse, Scholar, Amulet of Safekeeping, and another Dreadmaw. Too bad. It's the second Dreadmaw. However, with that said, we're not really playing this. What?
Uh-oh.
What the fuck just happened?
What did we pick?
I don't even know. We picked Amulet of Safekeeping somehow. I didn't click it.
You filthy rare drafter.
I guess I rare drafted it. All right. Whenever you can target a spell or ability, opponent controls counter that spell or ability unless phase 1 creature tokens get minus. It seems very not good for us. All right. Well,
so yeah, that should have probably been a Disperse, but okay.
I'll just apologize for that. Didn't deliberately attempt to do that. Bone to Ash versus Wall of Mist versus Inspired Charge versus Swiftclaw. I would Bone to Ash with this deck. It's slow enough that it seems like a counterspell that gets us value. Seems fine.
Yeah, Bone to Ash is probably the better card here. The only issue with it is that our deck is very light on instants. And whenever you're playing a card like Bone to Ash and you're committing yourself to keeping up 4 mana on a turn, and if you don't get to spend that mana in any other useful way, that can set you back quite a bit if the opponent plays around it. So that's the only issue with Bone to Ash right now. If we had more other instant speed or some mana sink that we could use, I would be happier taking the Bone to Ash.
What would you pick up instead then? The Swiftclaw? That'd be your second pick?
Probably, yeah.
I think I would prefer
either that or the Wall of Mist, but this deck I think
already
appreciates the Swiftclaw more.
Yeah, I think it already has a lot of stall on the ground. I think I'm gonna grab the Bone to Ash. I haven't played this yet. I'd like to see it.
Yep, that's fine.
Knight's Pledge versus Wall of Mist could be talked into either. I think the Wall of Mist is generally a better card than the Knight's Pledge, but we have a couple unblockables. We could stack like 45 enchantments on one creature and see if we lose. Wall of Mist.
Yeah, I would lean towards the wall here.
I'm fine with that. Inspired Charge versus Field Creeper versus Oakenform. I'm not excited about that card. We do have one other artifact synergy. We could grab that. It is a 2/1. It does let us do something on turn 2. We have 2 Omen Speakers. No, we have 1 Omen Speaker, 1 Departed. We have 4 creatures already at 2. I don't think Inspired Charge wins us any games. I think at the best we're having 2 flying attackers, but it might. I could see probably neither making our deck. What would you pick here?
I'd actually go with the Boneyard here, in case we pick up some good black cards that we can splash. Since we already have
neither of those are exciting to me, so I'll believe you and grab it. I don't want a second Knight of the Tusk. I don't want these. Do you ever play this card? I never play this card.
Nope, that card's not very good.
So
I would just take the Knight in case we don't end up with more expensive cards and need another Curve Topper.
Instant or Tusk or Breaker on 3. We're never playing this. We have plenty of 3s.
Not really a fan of the Aegis, to be honest.
No, I don't like it either. I don't like either of these cards.
So, yeah, I might just take the Line Breaker, but we might not play it.
Okay. These cards aren't being played. I'll grab the black card because we have a black mana source. I'll take the Root Snare, but we aren't playing it. Take the Plains, and we aren't playing it. Okay, we have no sideboard cards yet, and this is a sideboard format. We should maybe think about that.
Yep.
Okay. So, what do we have here? We have another Manolith. We have a black-blue card that we care about. We have Liliana's Contract, which isn't bad. It's a little bit slow, but it's really good if we have the life to pay it. 4 life's a lot. And we have white for the Bugler, and we have a lot of cards that trigger off Bugler. And take Vengeance. That's really fucking hard. That, and that are all very interesting to me.
Yeah, I think I would lean towards the Symbiont here.
Why?
We did just pick up our Submerged Boneyard, so playing it's not going to be too difficult if we're also playing Manolith. And the power level is just way higher than anything else here.
I think higher than Take Vengeance as a pretty reasonable removal.
Yeah, it's fine, but the Symbiont is just so much value.
Okay, I'll get behind that. All right. Scholar of Stars is the one that sticks out to me. There's a Swiftclaw that's okay. I don't think we have early black or even... I like the Bloodletter, but I don't think it's good enough. I don't think we have enough black to play that right now. So I guess I'm drafting Scholar of Stars here.
Yeah, Scholar's fine. Then we really have to prioritize those artifacts, since we now have 2 Scholars, the Pack Beasts.
Yeah.
So if we see one of those Guardians, like the 3/5 artifact, those would easily make our deck.
Second Essence Scatter versus Divination versus Daybreak versus Invoke the Divine. That's hard. I would probably second Essence Scatter.
Yeah, I think so too. We already have the Sift for card draw. If we have enough artifacts, we have the Scholars. And we could use some more creature interaction.
You want a second Manolith? We have lots of artifact synergies. I don't really want a second Manolith in the deck, though.
We could just take the Sanctuary as well for black mana fixing, or we could take the Serpent as maybe an upgrade over Knight of the Tusk. Those are the other considerations.
I am worried about winning the game with this deck right now. I like the second mana fix here. I like the second artifact for Scholars of Stars, but I'm not excited about a second Manolith.
Yeah, I don't think we would play a second Manolith, just because the effect isn't really useful in our deck, besides being an artifact.
I can get behind Sanctuary. I like this as a win condition.
Might as well... Yeah.
Because we're getting pretty shy on fucking win conditions here. We got a 3/3 flyer, whoop-de-doo.
Got the Herald of Faith, the Snapping Drake, and the Ether Tunnel, kind of.
Yeah, but those aren't exactly...
And maybe the Pegasus Courser, but...
Yeah. I'll take the Sanctuary here, but we really need to be on the lookout. I think this will come around again, so...
It could be, yeah.
Okay, that's mana fixing.
I see a Guardian there.
Yeah, and Explosive Apparatus. Both are really solid here. Judah, Guardian over Apparatus. We have 3 fucking Pack Beasts. Gets a lot more value out of Apparatus.
Explosives, yeah. I didn't really think about the Pack Beast synergy with the Apparatus. That's definitely worth considering. Also, it curves out better if going Apparatus into Scholar of Stars as opposed to having to wait until you play the Guardian before playing an Apparatus.
I look at this card and think it's slightly better than Guardian here.
Yeah, if we didn't have all those Pack Beasts, then I might go with the Guardian, but given the triple Pack Beast, then Apparatus seems pretty good.
Alright, let's grab that. Okay, another Amulet of Safekeeping. Awkward. A Mighty Leap or a Marauder's Axe. I'd Marauder's Axe here.
Yeah, Axe seems good with Scholars.
Okay. I'd take a 3rd Scholar here and be pretty happy about it, actually.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, Detection Tower is garbage. Uncomfortable Chill is just fine, and it's in our color combination. I would take that.
Yeah, probably take the Chill, but there's a chance we don't play it.
Okay, second, I take another black mana source.
Yeah, so now we have 2 black sources for our Symbionts, plus the Manolith, which we probably play, although there's a chance we don't play the Manolith.
Chance we don't play Skyrider Patrol right now too, which kind of sucks.
Yeah, exactly. We don't really have any green fixing besides the Manolith. So if we take the Sanctuary, then we could just play the 3 dual lands and don't need the Manalith for black mana fixing,
Right.
which frees up an extra slot in our deck, which is pretty useful.
So are
I
you
don't
considering
think-
between Anticipate? Because I wouldn't even consider Anticipate right now. I just
Yeah, like we don't really have any synergies with Anticipate other than the Bone to Ash.
right.
So on turn 4, you can keep a Bone to Ash if they don't play anything. You can Anticipate instead, which would be nice. But yeah, I would probably lean towards a Sanctuary.
Huh. How about Plummet and we consider green as a sideboard option?
Yep, that's acceptable.
Yeah, I don't want any of these cards. I guess Recollect.
Yeah, big doesn't matter.
I don't know that we actually have a sideboard here.
Well, there's a Naturalize, I guess.
All right. So our sideboard is Q and green.
Yep.
Sure. Well, I don't like. Okay, what's your prediction on this deck? My prediction out of 5, because we can win 5 or lose 2, right? My prediction is 3.
Yeah, I think 3. We would be pretty happy with 3 wins with this deck.
Ooh.
Like, I don't think we made any like strange picks or anything in the draft. It's just that the packs were pretty weak overall. So I wouldn't really fault us for the drafting portion of the draft.
So we are actually
have
playing
to-
tempo here. Honestly, I mean, we're looking to beat them to death with things like Departed, Deckhand, Aether Tunnel, some light flyers, and yeah, that's what we're waiting to do with them. So, would you keep Skyrider Patrol here?
I don't think so, no. With only Manalith as fixing, or mana base would be pretty bad if we try to include a patrol. It's a great card, but I don't think we can really realistically support it.
Okay, so 4 cards remaining to get rid of. I get rid of the Line Breaker in a heartbeat.
Yep.
I would get rid of the Wall of Mist, I think, here. Has no synergy with what our deck actually is trying to do.
Yep, that's reasonable.
I get rid of a Knight of Tusk. Sitting on 2 right now.
Yep, seems fine.
And then we
And
have
then
one more.
Maybe you look at the Uncomfortable Chill as well.
I like this as a draw card and also slow their damage down. I feel like we're going to be in a race situation a lot. I think I'd rather cut a second Knight of Tusk than I would a Uncomfortable Chill.
It does go well with Bone to Ash as well, which is worth considering. Let's see. Maybe one of the Pack Beasts can go.
I actually don't want to cut a Pack Beast right now. I guess we only have the 2. It's just that, how does this deck win? This deck wins by doing damage whenever it can, which means early game. Because we're not going to outvalue anybody with this deck, right?
I mean, we have a few flyers, a few unblockable stuff.
Knight of the Tusk,
So-
though. Like, what am I doing with this card? I'm never going to...
It's got to hold the ground, basically. I mean, we're not going to attack with it. It's just going to be a 7 toughness blocker on the ground.
All right, I guess every time we play the Knight of the Tusk, I want to evaluate whether or not we'd rather have a Pack Beast in hand.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay. All right, so we'll look at this. Let's take a look at the mana fixing here, or the mana rather. So the rest of this makes a lot of sense to me. Let's take a look. What do we have? We have 1 swamp, and that's 4 black sources for the Symbiont. That seems almost overkill.
Yeah, we don't need the swamp.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. And looking at this, I do want blue more than I want white early game, but at 3s, I want that. I'm adding another plains here, I think. So this gives us 7 sources, 8 sources of white, 9 sources of blue. I'm okay with that.
Yep, seems fine.
Okay, so we'll take a look at this. This would be the we decided 3. 3
Yep,
is
wins.
optimistic, right?
Yep.
Okay. All right, guys.
Gotta change the picture.
Oh, right, yeah, because that's not gonna work. What would we put this? What would this deck be to you? This would be
I think.
the Herald,
Yeah,
the Symbiont. It's got to be the Symbiont.
It's definitely our best card.
That's yeah, agreed. Okay, guys, I need to restart the client though. I'm getting a bit of lag, so I'm gonna restart the client real quick, and then we're gonna start a game, and you're gonna talk me into victory. So I do want to play around the fact that this is a great. I think this deck would be. I would prefer to play this in quick draft than I would in competitive draft, because in competitive draft sideboarding is a real issue, a real thing, and our sideboard seems very pathetic to me.
Yeah, we can like potentially board into green, but it's not really where we want to be.
No, I agree. So I mean, we might do it just to fuck with them, but I'm gonna restart the client real quick. Could potentially board into green there for that, but all right, let's fire that up and fire that up. And open that back up. All right, let's get playing though. I think 3 is. It feels bad. Like we drafted a deck. I don't feel like we drafted super greedily or super insane. I feel like the cuts were fairly reasonable, but that deck does not seem good to me.
But yeah, if you just look at the packs we opened, like what's the most exciting card we passed? Maybe like, I don't know, the Liliana's contract or.
Yeah, right. Like nothing. Like, and even Liliana's contract is not that exciting.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Yeah.
Maybe a few rabbit bites, but the first one was together with the patrol, and then the other one we weren't really in green any longer.
Yep. All right. Let's see what we can do with it though. Let's get a couple wins.
And I guess there were those black cards in the second pack, the Murder and the Lich's Caress in the first and second pick.
Jesus, but that would have been ballsy as fuck going for like a murder, like a double black.
Yeah, we definitely wouldn't take them there, but let's say we were lucky and we're already black at that point, and those would have been nice pickups.
Yeah, for sure.
Can't really control that.
Nope. Oh, I agree.